Greetings, peace, greetings. Let's give honor to the source, to the creator. I'm gonna do a little, to the ancestors known and unknown for the highest good of all. So, it's not weird, but it ain't. Oh, it be wild. It's cold as fuck out here. It be wild seeing people. It's like all the time. It be wild seeing people walk around on the street. It's cold as fuck. I'm starting to really think motherfuckers is really zombies or really not. It's that cold, bro. It literally says on my speedometer 9 degrees. You see that? 9 degrees. So nobody wanna think I'm capping. I know motherfucker. What up? You at? None of your business. I got this message today. Very clear. So precise. Some battles you have to win by not fighting, but revoking access to you. Some battles are not, it's not even that it's not worth fighting. It's not, you don't have to. It's just the response in not having access to you is like you hear choosing peace over someone wanting to pull you back into some bullshit. And it's so interesting because that's been one of my greatest lessons with spiritual warfare, with breaking generational cycles and chains, relationship dynamics, business, I mean all across the board. Because there was a time in my life where, and some say wisdom comes with age, but it doesn't with everybody. When you have a bigger vision, sometimes the battle can look like you wanting to bring people along with you, and they're too distracted by battling with themselves and have not faced a lot of things. So in reality, or to counter that, it's best to be the observer, to realize like it's not your battle. I've been learning to pull away, call my energy back. It's just like an argument. Everything there's you got conflict resolution, but an argument ain't always something that once you realize as you grow, no matter how loud something you may say, no matter how gentle, sometimes no matter the approach, how quietly you say it, if the person hasn't met themselves deeper, hasn't done the inner work, has which you're going to be seeing very clearly here with a lot of these astrological transits, or just how the stars are aligning, people aren't able to keep down things anymore. Meaning like they haven't did the inner work, they haven't faced themselves, they haven't really looked within, and that's a part of cycle breaking. So their battle will be with you, but in reality is with themselves. So that's one of the things I've been getting more peace, harmony, and even like realizing it's okay, especially if you grew up in a survival mentality, or let's say people who grew up in fear-based, which most of us have, like dealing with the environment of the country and what has happened with people over the years and so forth, depending on your demographics. It can be natural for someone to try to fight and protect what they feel at that time, depending on their perspective, what is worth protecting or trying to defend. One of my greatest lessons I've been learning, I'm like, if someone hasn't met themselves deeper, if I'm recognizing a learned behavior pattern, or I'm learning that they're not ready, they're not, willing to go beyond where they're used to or what's familiar with them, they'll naturally destroy it on their own. They're saying give someone the rope, they'll, do that to themselves. Or the ditch they dig for you, they're pretty much end up falling in. Yes. And that's the same concept of realizing like some battles have to be won without fighting, without feeling like I have to intervene. That's been one of my greatest lessons in the last like 3 or 4 years. And I would have never gotten to this place of being so at peace with myself, so balanced, so with walking in integrity, also like being honest with myself and being like, you know what, at a time where I've learned through emotional ignorance or unstableness, no one can hide from those things that have been suppressed or repressed. If they haven't did the inner work or tried to change or shift their perspective, their value system. Remember, I talked about value system, what they value. Some people actually value violence over peace and harmony. Some people actually value disrupting shit, not caring to have something stable. And that's what you learn with choosing your battles. Also, is like not putting yourself in that person's fucking karma. Like I said, I've been recently having just characters just pop out of nowhere, and I can feel it. Like I naturally can pick up on it. Then one thing this sister was saying earlier, she was like, get your like, don't let your empathetic ass feeling like you got to go save today or go back and try to help someone. Nah, just take care of yourself, mind your business, and keep moving on. I'll be very aware, observant of my surroundings, but take care of yourself and also just mind your business. And so that's been the biggest thing for me. I'm like, bro, because sometimes some of us, as we met ourselves deeper, we'll get that feeling of, we think of being, having empathy. Again, it's reminding ourselves not to lose. Emotional empathy is reminding ourselves, as deep as we met ourselves, we have to be very mindful and aware that we tend to not lose ourselves in trying to save others or trying to have more empathy, which can create more imbalance within ourselves. Because we'll forget about, we'll lose, with not balancing things. Oh, I'm glad I seen that sign. Confirmation. With losing, again, from realizing not being emotionally stable, it's so easy to lose yourself in trying to save someone from what they're battling with, what is unresolved, what is unstable within them. And it's so amazing I say that, because simply, even when I look at children or kids, it's certain things I don't have the solution for. I can only plant a seed. Because I don't say something to my daughter, that don't mean she gonna listen right then and there. Because certain things their brain is still processing. They're still trying to process the emotion. They're still trying to navigate through this, listen to you and all. So imagine the same aspect of people who are 40, 50, 60 and so forth. You have to have empathy from a distance sometimes because of learned behavior patterns. And we have learning to deeply accept that that's their battle. One of the greatest lessons I could have ever done, again, was stepping away from people that I knew, whether it's family dynamic, people that I knew was not willing to grow, was not willing to expand, was not willing to change. And I realized, damn, this is your battle. And sometimes, I used to feel guilt and shame around times where I knew I just needed to leave something. I knew I needed to walk away. But that's again where I realized that some battles are not mine. That's how you win the war. Because while this person is choosing this, you're choosing to sometimes unconsciously battle, and then they're at war with themselves. Then you basically placing yourself in the line of gunfire, or you might well step in front of the fucking sword. And so, with that again, the mindfulness around of it's for your own greatest good and your protection when you do recognize that people not having access to you, people not having access to you, and this has been so, I'm telling you, it's like bon appetit, because I'm seeing it so much clearly now. And this is how I even know where, even where offers of people try to spin the block, they're probably going to get clarity. But at the same moment, it goes back to the access to you. I said shit years ago. I was telling people, you'll be able to see me, but you won't be able to touch me. And you can receive that however you want to, because I'm at a place where I told myself, I'm like, bro, had I not learned before, ain't no way I'm putting myself in a situation ever again with the bullshit I've dealt with just people. Ever again. I'm not ever doing it. It's closed, bro. Yeah, it's closed. So yeah. But cold ass weather. I ain't blew my nose in so long. It's been good. It's probably my sinuses and shit. This weather is whoa. But I'm grateful. But especially if you're young or whatever age you are, because some people, they old souls or whatever. But that's been the biggest thing I've been realizing in the access thing, because those who are in tune or spiritual and so forth, one of the things that people know about or are aware about is that even though people don't have to have physical access, they'll attempt to try to spiritually, emotionally, mentally try to connect. It's an energetic thing. Now, this is where speaking divine covering over yourself, I always do it. I'm always speaking, I'm divinely covered, divinely protected, Ashe. So many different things, because you just know that as you walk more into your destiny and fulfill your purposes, or your mission, it becomes lighter. And your protection, because, bro, it's the access thing is your protection. That's the beauty in all of this shit. It's like my mind became clear when I wasn't around certain people. My life became more stable. For a lot of you that are in tune, your visions have become more clearer. Your dream, your everything becomes more clearer. It becomes more balanced. Because then sometimes you can recognize you're around people, or not even just the people, it's just energetically certain things that keep you from stabilizing. One of the biggest clarity I got the other day is realizing when I grew up and recognizing the learned behavior pattern of, let's say, and I'm just keeping it fucking a buck and like real. I know people like this, or I just know experiences. Seeing how, let's say, my mom, like, I'm talking about, I do not personally recall her ever having a home over 10 years. I know some people move and stuff, but I'm talking about seeing the learned behavior patterns. And I'm telling y'all, from how you have to, is recognizing what you are literally generationally breaking. That's how powerful this shit is. When you learn what you're generationally like breaking, then you realize like the beauty in like what you are called to build upon or create or walk into. If you're not, I'm telling you, it's like someone's life consists of so much shit they have with them that they'll make every excuse. Again, I'm just calling it how I see it. From having seen her go through so many different aspects of instability or unstableness, whatever you want to call it. I told you I started to connect this shit about, again, this goes back to battling with herself personally. And when you're not stable emotionally, only thing you know how to do is create chaos. That goes for anybody. Children. That's why it's so important for us to tap into our inner child and stabilize ourselves from what we've been through. They're the same way. Because that's how important it is for a lot of us to break generational curses or cycles and stuff, because we are rebuilding, reinventing, rebuilding the structures that it seemed like it was lost when it came to things generationally. A shift. A lot of shit is going to come out of people during these times, because, see, that's the thing the divine, I realized, was preparing me for. Because in that access denied, whether that be a new home for some of y'all, a new place, you know, whatever, as you did the divine, as you align with the divine, align with your path, or as you face certain fears subconsciously and break generational chain, there is reward that comes from that. There is also discernment. Discernment is, as you get these things, there are people waiting for you to get this shit, just so they can see if they're going to have access. You think that you went through all this shit in vain? For you to get all this divine inheritance, this clarity, this insight? Certain shit could have not came around those people. Like I said, it's certain things I know personally. It's not to attack people. It's to call the shit out for what it is. You with and surrounded by people who don't even recognize their learned behavior patterns. How the fuck are you gonna progress? They don't even see beyond. They don't see the forest from the trees. They only see their circumstances or traumas. They only see the mental disorder that they don't even recognize as mental disorder or dysfunction. Like I said, from learning one of the greatest lessons, it wasn't just physically removing myself from my mother. It was mentally, emotionally dissolving the mindset I developed as a child into adulthood. A lot of us realize that a lot of breaking generational curses is a fucking poverty mindset. And that poverty mindset, that low self-esteem mindset, that inability to connect with your emotions and to be rooted in who you are, is someone else's belief system. So you will never feel sometimes you are enough, have enough. Did your mother ever know she was enough? If she did, why didn't she choose better for herself? Because that she would know, or he or she would know, that shit affects everything around you. Outside of you just wanting to stay for the kids, for some of y'all, it's a whole bunch of shit. Because sometimes you have to recognize a person that you could have children with. I saw this all the time. That they're so consumed, or that they're in a battle with themselves. They're at war. They're not willing to go deep and really face who they're, what's going on within them, because sometimes their unhealthy attachment is to a mother figure, or it's to the fact of they feel like they got to throw everything down and take care of their kids, or not having a balance between, they feel like they got to stay in, they feel like they got to stay attached to, the family dynamic and the relatives and friends and stuff and all that shit, just to feel a sense of identity, but never get to know themselves deeper, because if they did, they wouldn't stay there. They'll recognize that some of these people don't have the best interest. Some of them people will not support them through their endeavors and so forth, as they do try to make a different approach to life or expand and so forth. So with that, again, I'm telling y'all from experience, when I start to recognize the matriarchal, the roots of what I came through and so forth, I was called to see the pattern. You have to sit and learn and observe from people. Why the fuck haven't you had a home? And not even just that, what is keeping you from that, other than everybody else? Other than the systematic things that are collapsing? Why haven't you taken a risk on building something? Because you know what most people fear is facing the very things that lead to that. That shit brings up subconscious fears. That brings up so many different things. Your willingness, your courage to go beyond societal norms, opinions of other people, belief systems that a lot of people now are really seeing it's causing them in their inability to change, shift their values, their internal values, their personal values. Y'all gonna see an immense amount of shit collapsing, foundations of people, burnt out. Burnt out. Because internal value is how you look at not only yourself, you're the currency first, but how you look at money, how everything connects to that. Do you value your mental health, your emotional well-being? Because think about how you show up to these places. That connects to your well-being overall. So I used to see how, I'm telling you, I'm just giving y'all an example. I used to see my mom go from job to job. It was never nothing stable, secure. And I started reflecting that when I looked at her as the matriarchal, and I started to see my grandmother was burning her fucking self out because my mother did not want to take responsibility young, not only for herself, but for her own children. Same thing with my aunt. I'm calling it out because I know people can relate. And this is where you see the cycles of being burnt out. This is where you see the cycles of them not ever being happy, them being single, not having successful relationships, partnerships, marriages. Because again, what did they value? Did they value sex more than anything? Did they value money? Did they value substance abuse above everything? And that's what I could not ignore. When you start to see shit for what it is, you'll realize that was never your battle to try to get your mother and or family member even away from the shit. There's something that you can encourage them, but you have to realize that that's their choice. And from my experience, I've seen my mama try to go, or even from a distance. I encourage my mom, go to what do they call it? Not therapy, but go to go into the place where what do you call that shit? It's a form of therapy, but going to the place where rehab. And you know, I cannot put my life aside, you know, presently and be like, you know what, I'm gonna make sure she's doing this and doing that. No, I got a call. And this is when I was going with no contact, which is a form of no access to me. That, you know, at that moment, she was in there or whatever. But again, it goes back to where when people are not willing to face themselves, people fear this. This is why a lot of people fear solitude. Because a lot of that shit that they think they're going through, a lot of them are not willing to sit with their inner demons, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They're not willing to sit with those traumas. That's the shit that's haunting them. What if you want to call them demons, spirits, the shit that they didn't, that the memories that's lingering, that they never face, that's stuff that's haunting people. Whatever it being some type of abuse or whatever, that's the memories are haunting them. And when you talk about generations of people who have never sat with themselves, and then you're called to reconstruct your whole value system, that's why I say it don't gotta make sense of nothing what I'm doing, because it's bigger than me. But I love that I have the courage to do it. So recognizing her patterns, I had to realize, like, you have to realize this is not your child. I cannot save you. You know what I'm saying? So that's also the acceptance people have to come into. From a distance, I start to look at her pattern, and I start to, you know, if I'm gonna bring y'all into my world, I start to look at my dad. Similar thing. He's always lived under the roof with a woman or lived with a woman. I've never known him to have his own house or home. I've never known that. He was married with a woman with children. And I'm starting to realize, like, bro, what the fuck? I could not ignore none of these signs no more. As much as we don't want to be like our parents, we inherited their behavior patterns. We inherited a lot of shit. And that's not saying that it's blaming and making them out to be horrible or bad. No, they're amazing at what they did. They did great. I look at my mom like a superhero, because sometimes I don't even see, because I don't know what it is to smoke dope or anything like that. But to see people come through generations where, you know, how that shit was orchestrated, even be put in the hood, and then how you use dope boys and people that call themselves drug lords and put them in a position on the pedestal as if they're more valuable than the men that get to know themselves and love themselves and try to balance life, than the man who's out here really trying to protect and provide for himself emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and how that ripples and protects his, you know, children. and his partner and so forth, his family. Like, what the fuck? How that was used to try to make them more valuable. Now, most of them gone. Most of them dudes during that age and time are 50s, 60s. Let's be real. Music, let's be honest. So now, a lot of us as millenniums, a lot of people with a Libra, or I think it's Scorpio generate, like Pluto and Scorpio, we're exposing all this shit on all levels, because guess what? Now, guess who got to be the one who's sitting here and have to look at these people, whether they walk the streets, whether they are not able to have nothing stable, or sometimes some of the people now, to some of us, not all, are stuck with trying to not only rehabilitate them, but be caretakers for their ass. Because y'all forgetting, a lot of these baby boomers and a lot of their structures, these people are leaving the fucking world. They're dying. They're transitioning, however you want to say it. They're not able to come and fix the homes no more that they built. They're not able to come give solutions, because a lot of them, they never had time to sit down and find solutions. A lot of them were so conflict avoided that they don't even know what conflict resolution is. A lot of these great grandparents and people who have held so much shit in, the men especially, that's why a lot of them are so violent, is because they suppress so much. Or they have repressed feminine archetypes or energies, so much so. So they don't respect themselves, respect the feminine archetype. So they for sure as fuck is not going to care about what happens to anything connected to and gives life to, which everything feminine gives birth to everything masculine. They sure as fuck is not going to care not only for themselves, if they're not connected to their inner child, but care for children and or women. Especially the one that brings the life and help support it. If they're not connected to their emotions, they sure as fuck is not going to know what it is to connect, to even emotionally connect to a woman who naturally goes through almost like an apocalyptic transition when a child is in the womb. So that's why you see, you know, like seeing my mom go through a lot of abusive behavior, you know how normalized that was? It's because when you recognize the fact of these were men who who grew up in culture, who were influenced in so many fucking ways not to respect themselves, not to love themselves, not to have no dignity and respect, womanize, devalue, dehumanize, make a living off of it, influence kids off of it, try to make money, sell themselves out and they fucking community off of it, whether it's through sports, whether it's through music, whether it's through whatever it is. Now all of a sudden, boom, what? Now the shift in power don't happen. What's that movie? This is your king? This is your queen? Whatever the fuck you want to call it. This is your leaders? These your leaders? I call it like I said, these your leaders? Don't let me get on the spiritual community. Same thing. Abuse of power. These your leaders? Who gonna check me? Because they know who I am. Let me look at the camera. They know who I am. Ain't nobody gonna check me. Because I check myself. And I know what I'm here to do. But a lot of y'all, man, please. Don't let me get on this egotistical spiritual community. Anything to keep y'all ass on a pedestal to make it seem like you're more grander than the next fucking person out here. It's all connected and divinely orchestrated. I know exactly what y'all doing. Like I said, to even connect the things with my mom. Same shit. Y'all got to realize everyone has an influence in your life. The discernment comes in when you're able to recognize what type of battle is this person fighting that has nothing to do with me. And as these people fucking foundation collapse, who do you think they're going to want to have access to? You. For clout. All that clout shit. All that, man, I see all across the board. All that celebrity stuff. All that shit's done. They don't have that run. Y'all keep forgetting. This is a marathon. Some people don't, they're not equipped. Not only are they not spiritually equipped, they're not mentally and emotionally equipped. When shit shift, you know, for those who have done running and ran a marathon, you know, some of these people, y'all assume that, I love when I'm giving analogies, I'm doing shit. Some of these people, you just assume just because they out in front, they have this, and just because the illusion of what they've had, they seem like they out in front of you. Whole time when you running a marathon, these are the goofy ass people who don't got on their high horse, who don't ran and burnt themselves out. Not even, you know, you running a marathon. This is a 2-mile marathon. Here you are running a fucking, now all of a sudden they don't ran the first couple 100 feet and don't burnt themselves out. Now realizing they don't know how to pace themselves. See, that's what makes people who are connected to source and to the divine, who done the inner work. Y'all don't realize doing the inner work, facing yourself, not only are you spiritually equipped, you're emotionally, mentally, and physically equipped. That's why a lot of people don't know, in spiritual warfare, it's very important to work out and balance your body. It's very important to rest and work out, train. Because what does training do? It prepares you for whatever is ahead. It prepares you. See, a lot of people don't realize, see, fasting is training the body. A lot of shit is preparing you. You're getting equipped for the moments like this where you're going to be able to sit back and observe, and the whole time you thought other people were in front of you. Think about that. I even had people, on my own relatives or certain people I knew, they will literally let their ego rise up and tell me, well, you ain't got this, you ain't got that, you ain't got this. And I'm sitting here watching the whole, as y'all know it, housing, monetary system, everything that y'all has so much hope, not faith, has so much hope, has so much, y'all gave so much energy to, and again, you are not willing to change your fucking value system. Because y'all were so selfish. Again, this is a marathon. While y'all was out there focused and cared about who saw you and all this attention seeking and shit, some people were getting equipped to position themselves, create things just to go away for their protection. Because you start to realize this battle that's going on is not mine. What you got going on, like I said, to see my mom and my dad to go through certain things, I was getting prepared and equipped. I don't know what it looks like for you. Sometimes it's meant for you to go through a similar path of your mom abusing drugs or you going down there. You may not have to, but then you realize, like, in your ability to master that, you'll be able to use that. You'll be able to share your message. You'll be able to enlighten or share with others who are battling with that. So you can, you know what I'm saying? It's so many different things you can look at it. There's so many ways you can look at so many different things and be like, you know what? I'm glad I did that. Because I tell you, it's a marathon. You're going to start, I'm seeing people right now burnt the fuck out at different ages. Don't care about rest. Don't care about hydration. Don't care about the fact of how anything physical first. Physical is spiritual first. Don't care about balance. They don't care about stabilizing their emotions. Because in those moments, in the heat of the moment, because they don't know who they are, they don't know what they value and so forth, man, that shit gonna come up. It's gonna rise up and cost them their foundation. Y'all see how big this is? It's gonna cost them their false identity that they built. Because somebody gonna call them out, or the spirit energy gonna call them out, the divine. That's what judgment is. Judgment is coming in and, you know, that's the balance between ego and your authentic self. Some believe there is a so-called healthy aspect of ego. We can rise in it. You can call it your lower self, higher self, whatever you want to call it. But again, values. So much is shifting. And this is why you'll realize how you were put in position so that people won't have access to fuck it over. I cannot tell y'all personally certain stuff I've seen. Like, I can, but a lot of shit wouldn't make sense to people. But a lot of you know what I'm speaking about when you get in dreams or visions, or pretty much you get clarity. It's going to become clearer and clearer why you should move in discernment, why you should move the way you move, because you, again, inheritance, there's duality, polarity, whatever you want to call it, to inheritance. You can inherit it, certain shit, and as you clear it karmically, the dharma aspect to that is an inheritance. You inherited where you grew up in, people grew up in poverty mindset. They didn't want better in the community. They wanted to stay there. You get opportunities by facing yourself, breaking cycles, and your heart becomes lighter, or you become more stable and balanced. The divine knew that these people wasn't gonna have. You saw their mindset. You saw how greedy they were. You saw how self-righteous they were. Those were signs to show you, like, hey, don't do what they did. Because guess what? If you do, you're gonna end up right where they are. And see, the very thing what's happening is that the ones who laugh, the ones who said certain things, the one who did certain things, let me tell you something. It's so many different ways. The ones who, you know what I'm talking about. Like I said, you thought your shit was in vain, and it wasn't. You were just getting position. You were supposed to be seen. It was supposed to be perceived that you didn't have shit, just so people can treat you like it. But once you start growing from that shit, once you start blossoming, because again, they thought you were supposed to look like them, and they wanted to look like somebody else. They never know what it was to be authentic. They never developed their own identity. They was trying to look like the world while you was just in it. While you were told not to be like it, because you carry something, a blueprint that behind the scenes people are watching you, because you're the blueprint. You're the trendsetter, however you want to say it. And so that's the funny thing about all of this, is that when you no longer try to be a part of and fight people's battles and try to get them out of stuff and so forth, you'll realize a lot of that shit was for protection for what you are going to receive personally. And an inheritance ain't always got to be stuff that's financial. The Most High can position you somewhere where people won't even know you live right near them. They don't think you moved away, and the whole time you can be right down the street in a whole other community and so forth. And the whole time you right there don't got clarity, insight, just because you're discernment, just because how people see you. They don't see you out, but they don't know where you live at. That's discernment. They'll see you somewhere, they'll see you, But that's the beauty of knowing how to move beyond what everybody else is trying to do. They know they won't have access to you like that ever again. And the reason why this is so important is because some people can't catch, like they won't be able to catch it. They should. Is that it's only showing you that you can evolve too. You can go within too. But that doesn't mean that access is, no, man, I'm telling you, it's a wonderful thing. I start to, oh my gosh. Like I say, it became clearer. I had to see certain people go through certain things because I was literally getting prepared. Because again, if you're called to create a tribe and a family, whatever, there's intention behind that. Cycle breakers, you have to see what's going on. You have to see the cycles and learn behavior patterns that you either were ignoring, and why your mom kept staying in this pattern, why your dad and you know to the depths that they're not happy. You know they're not at peace. And it's just a matter, y'all don't realize it's like a ticking time bomb. And that's personally from, well, I'm not making their experience as my experience, but when you do not do the inner work, face what the fuck you're facing, when you don't feel right within, I don't care how much you cake it up, the ingredients still the same. That shit's still gonna come out nasty and bland. It's still gonna come out the same. I'll tell you, the marathon, y'all just assume that some people, it's just like how people look at people's life and just assume like, dang, how they still doing that? I know that's how some people look at me. I listened I listened to source. I listened to my body when it told me to sit the fuck down and rest. I listened to myself when, staying consistent. Certain things like, you know what? I don't think you should do that right now. You should invest in this. You should do that. So yeah, I listen. Same thing that go for, you got to realize those are the people who ignored. It doesn't matter the age. They ignored the calling. They ignored the higher calling on their life. They had the opportunity. Y'all got, man. I'm my own individual with my own purpose and mission. It's not for me to save my mother and father. It's not for me to save nobody. They'll make it seem like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. No, it was never meant for me too. Absolutely not. So yeah, real talk. I'm just sitting here like, bro. That's why, man. I'm telling you, I can keep telling y'all, the shit is so rewarding. Authenticity, integrity is so rewarding. I see it clear and clear every time I step into my truth, and I start to see it clear when I realize, observing, damn, this person really is fighting their own shit. It becomes clear and clearer. And what life will naturally do, I'm gonna show you how it unfolds. For some of us, as you start to become more the observer of yourself first, you will realize like, dang, okay, they gotta go through this. They gotta, I'm telling you, I was there. My empathetic ass, I had so much empathy, but too much for other people where I could not develop my own identity. That was keeping me. I had more emotional empathy for people rather than myself. That was nobody's fault. That's what I've learned. I'm telling you, I should see my mom try to save, at the same time dismember like her relationships with herself. So as much as she would try to stabilize stuff, I would literally see her try to save every relationship with men. And I'm telling you, man, out of love for myself, I'll be raw with y'all. I've seen so many people do this. You'll start to see it on their body. Because y'all, that's how deep spiritual warfare, like mental and emotional, that's what spiritual warfare is in its entirety. It's all aspects of that. It's the emotional part, it's the mental part. You'll sit here and think you got to be with someone, and then sometimes, people get caught up in the sex. Okay, you don't know how that person think about themselves, how they feel about themselves, and so forth. So sometimes, like, as you elevate or go deeper within yourself, it's love and happiness is a beautiful thing when you realize that you can give yourself the love and your happiness ain't dependent on no one. So when you align with someone like that, oh my gosh, it's something that cannot be put into words. That's what preparing yourself for, because relationships mirror that back to you. Some connections will literally mirror you. You know that concept of marriage, and you're one entity and you come together and all that. Man, that shit, the fine print never said it's important for you to love yourself. It's important for you to become one with yourself. You're not 50-50. Some people don't even see themselves as 50. Some connections, somebody giving they're giving 100, the other person giving 50. Now that's not to say that when you look at partnership or unions, when you hear divine union, the union starts within you. That means you're aligning with a part of you that you felt was lost. That's what aligning with the union with yourself is. You're coming in union with the 15-year-old version of you that had went through something traumatic, and you decide to say, hey, I accept you, I embrace you, I love you, I appreciate you. Because that's what those memories are. Those what that suppress shit you have. You suppress that version of you. And then you continue to repress it through relationships and wonder why these wonder why these things are coming up in this connection. That's how I was able to recognize what I went through with my mother, to be able to face it and heal it. And so what that did, it made sense to what connections I was in, who I was in, what it reflected back, what I no longer resonated with, and what I had to align with. And that don't mean I'm jumping ship to go to someone else. Sometimes that means let me just, this season is for me. That you and I, literally unity, coming back home to me. I don't been in all this. Now, man, you know what? Let me encourage these brothers and these young men. Bro, get to know you. Don't ever stop getting to know you. Don't ever stop choosing you. And people out here mad because they're overextending, overcompensating. And it's okay because you did not know. We didn't know what, we didn't have, come on now, I can say, I'm just going to guess and throw it out there, 85% of people, we didn't know what a fucking, having a, like choosing a partnership or choosing partnership that is like honestly like healthy and divine and you know, holistic for us. A lot of us didn't get that insight early on that. A lot of us weren't like, oh gosh, you know, my mom told me this is, and then some of us, they did, but then you see it more geared towards money. You know, everyone love to say, and it's not to say these things aren't vital. You know, him being a protector and provider. Again, my belief system, my concept around it is completely different than some other people. And that's personally because of what I went through. So I'm not projecting and say your experiences has to be mine. Everyone has their own individual experience. And so for me, my stability will look different. My financial stability or how I come into what I'm coming to and how I live and what it is will look different. I don't want to live in the same community as other people. I don't want to experience the same type of people who don't live in integrity, who don't have some type of moral compass. You know, that shit is very vital to me. What type of women, what type of men, what type of children, not even just me, my children be around. You know how many people, y'all don't got this concept of go live in these big ass neighborhoods that people that don't even interact. They have so much self-hatred towards themselves and you. They don't, again, videos ago telling y'all have had shit that has been built that is collapsing because people value system. They actually value not getting along with people, whether they're darker or lighter. They actually valued. They literally had values. They value that. They literally created a force field, a fence to protect themselves mentally, emotionally, physically from people who don't look like them. However y'all see that. And what makes you think that structures and all this shit is collapsing with the shift of whether you want to call it the Aquarian age, the age of Capricorn, whatever you want to call it, the age of exposure, the golden age, the restore balance, either way is going to purge out what is impure, unbalanced, what is not stable, emotionally, mentally, and so forth. That's when you're going to have, again, recognize people who are not happy, who are not stable. Those are the ones you are discerning about. And it don't matter in this time where you talking about left behind, it don't matter who it is. It don't matter who it is. And that left behind is a sense of like you being called to a specific place for your protection, meaning that, like I said, you could live 5, 10 miles from, 20 miles from people. You could have moved away and returned somewhere and got a place. But the divine say your ass is not to tell nobody where you live at. For some of y'all, get your ass a P.O. box. Get you a P.O. box. P.O. box. Well, I feel like it. Get you a P.O. box. Y'all don't realize, y'all better take notes from the old world that's collapsing, that doesn't value privacy. That doesn't value, y'all don't realize how privacy is so vital moving forward with a lot of shit. As you elevate, your protection is heightened as well. Your discernment heightens. I don't give a fuck about that fear-mongering shit. Folks know they can't touch you. And some people who are knowing that how untouchable you are, Now getting clarity of how protected you are spiritually, mentally, and so forth. Oh my gosh. Here come the apologies. Here comes the offerings. Here comes the, what did that sister say? Here come people offering shit and they hands not clean. Better be careful. That's why they say all money ain't good money. Here come people coming in, coming in, seeing they can have access. Fuck no, the divine gave you something and told you was gonna get something specifically. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No, 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 senor. Señorita, no, no, no. No habla inglés, no habla español. Nah, but for real, yeah. And it's okay for what comes up. I'm telling you, I've been preparing myself, but at the same moment, let me say how vital emotional memory is, like how much emotions are so powerful. I don't care how long you've never been with someone. You ever paid attention to where you could have not spoken to somebody 5 or 10 years and a memory will come up. A memory will fucking come up soon as you reconnect and so forth. Ask yourself, where's that memory stem from? And how does it feel? You know how they say people never forget how you make them, what is it? People never forget what you, not so much of what you done, but how you make them feel. There's some people, when I tell you, when I say they won't ever have access to me again, and this goes for people who, I know what you've done spiritually, I know what you've done emotionally, I know what you've done. And that's to say, oh, you won't have access the way you think you assume you're going to have access again. I don't give a fuck about no monitoring spirit. You won't have access to even be a monitoring spirit. Catch my drift? You can't catch it. Because I'm still drifting, baby. I'm still riding the wave, baby. But again, that's how important emotions are. They hold memory. They hold memory. Water holds memory. So something can come up where you realize something happened. Allow yourself to say no. No is a complete sentence. Allow yourself to say no. You're not, no. No. A memory come up and you thinking about spending get the fuck out of here. Get out of my energy. Stay out of my You are not, no, I did not give you permission. Stay the fuck away. And a lot of people won't take no for an answer. They won't know what that means and so forth. So again, that's when you know how they say, up your protection. Protection is also loving yourself. It ain't just working out. Is staying in tune, resting, getting that divine insight, and moving forward. There are people, energy that they don't want you to forget them. And it's not that they're forgotten. You just had me fucked up where you left me. That's just what that is. And so yeah, again, be very observant to patterns. Like once you, I always say this a lot. It's like, it's not about trying to do it right away. I realize in seeing the bigger picture is recognizing that this is what my mom and dad went through. Okay, what is this teaching me? If I look at my dad's shit, it's not so much getting your own stuff, it's having it, maintaining it, protecting it, and staying rooted and keeping it rooted in truth and integrity. And you don't have to invite whoever. You don't have to invite whatever and whomever. Because again, that's the thing about discernment. Ooh, that's clarity. That's the thing about how a lot of, if I had to look at a lot of the structures of whether you want to call them empires, if you want to call your house a home, a kingdom, or whatever it is, if I had to learn from people, and especially, oh my gosh, I'm getting clarity now, some shit. When I saw how people had allowed people access to their home so much, when I saw that how people that I know personally allow people into their home. And I was telling someone personally, and that's how you move somewhere. Shut up. Stop letting people tell. You don't have, y'all, there's moments you have to enjoy shit for yourself. A lot of us are rebuilding, reconstructing things for the sake, it's sacred, it's protected. A lot of shit that is destroyed. It ain't just relationships. It's allowing someone on the ship who put a hole in that bitch. It's allowing someone into something who was trying to become the captain and didn't even have the ability, didn't have the emotional stability, didn't have the mental clarity, didn't even have the vision or the insight. Whole time y'all been believing to put your energy towards people who have never saw the bigger picture, who have never seen the forest from the trees. You know people in your family right now. You can get them $1 million, but they don't care about seeing the bigger picture, the bigger picture. They cannot see the forest from the trees. They only see the $1 million. They don't see the investing into themselves and then to everyone else. They'll see their mindset to give somebody $50,000 knowing that they ass and don't even know what to do with it. Discernment is knowing that you get $1 million, millions, or whatever, however the divine, offers you, inherited something, whether it's idea or something, that comes responsibility with that. You think that other people in your lineage or in your life have not got insight? Have not got some type of, what do y'all think all these other people, they have got insight? No matter what they've been consumed by, no matter what path they've taken, they still got insight to do things completely different too. Y'all gotta realize. It's just, you know how people say it's just as much as the devil will tempt you with something? It's just as much as source, or you want to call it God, whatever you subscribe to. There is a balance. There is a balance. And a lot of people have given up their dignity, their self-respect, their balance, allowed to be ciphered, and that's all a lot of what it is. A lot of this access is for people to be able to see if they can rebuild, come in and siphon off of your energy, or to try to suck you dry again to keep you depleted so they can build their shit. Think about, I'm gonna give you a great analogy. Think about I gotta finish this marathon. Well, this is a part of the marathon, but just think about how, again, I feel like a lot of shit has collapsed is because a lot of people own vices or what they went through, and one little thing they'll allow someone to come in, or they'll just allow something to collapse what they've created. They didn't listen to their intuition or their discernment. And the beauty of it is that it's not about taking life so serious. It's like, that's the beauty of, I always encourage our mothers and women to go into seclusion, 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day, every day, to just sit with yourself, with the uncomfortability. It's worth it. It'll add up. If you can't get an hour, it'll still add up. Make time for yourself. Do something. I guarantee you'll get fucking clarity on something. I do it all the time. Car rides, walking. Stop making excuses. I guarantee you take 5 or 10 minutes, you'll get clarity on that relationship you in. You'll get an idea. You get an idea. And that idea is a divine spark. It's for you to act on it. No one can tell you. Faith without works is dead. You know how many people I sit back and watch? They proclaim to have all this faith, but I never seen them move their feet in the spirit. They move their feet in the physical, but they didn't move towards what spirit was calling them to do, in alignment. They didn't move towards alignment. And so now you complain about why you don't have certain shit. And then, those people coming along want to guilt trip you and make you feel guilty over the fact of what you came into. I don't got shit to prove when you realize, like, I did the inner work. I faced this shit. I align with this. So you mad? Oh well. Your emotions that you're coming through, your ego aroused, you get over it. You'll get through it. I had to.
Hard way to learn, huh?
You gotta
Yeah, I got a DoorDash.
yeah, you gotta go through the drive-through. Yep. So yeah. That's why I'm you know, again, it's these videos are not about saving people. It's about people getting clarity and insight and be willing and still having the courage and the consistency and persistence to know that even when you step into yourself or learn more about yourself, that's gonna come with, it's natural for chaos to brew, but the integrity and eventually we will show you like these motherfuckers was never their foundation was never solid. It was never solid. And they'll show you that they was never solid with themselves or solid. You start to real, man, I'm like, boy, I start sitting mad and like, oh shit. I'm telling you, I was getting insight on so much. And then sometimes it'll have you question it. Forces at play will have you question it. Like, man, what the fuck? I should jump shit. I should do this. And you know, man, what else I'm gonna do? What else I'm gonna do? Stay persistent. Stay grounded. Stay rooted in love. Stay rooted in, again, the world don't know much about integrity and authenticity because they try to attack it. The energy is shifting away from that and rapidly. The importance of influence or how things ripple is like, look at what people have went through. Now you're going to see the result of what they didn't care to face and be responsible for. And they're gonna blame everybody else. It's just like an immature child. It's just like, you know, my mothers who have teenagers and so much. It's just like us. We were given insight. Well, you know, and some of the things, yeah, but some of the things were like from their perspective, from their experience. At the same moment, when some of us, our perspective is different, especially if you had the mother and father yourself. I'm coming from that perspective of not having a father there, having an abusive father, having abusive men in my life. Then it's like for a person who really didn't have the healthy aspect of that, now you have to become it. That's a requirement. I can't just skip over, cut corners. So when I write these books and all that shit, that is a process of navigating through those emotions, those experiences, writing about what I went through. I don't give a fuck about the consequences, the rewards from that. Is the integrity and the authenticity that I put out there. Of course it'll be triggering to anybody who don't live in that, but it's going to be rewarding for those who, as they shift to come into that, to realize that they were never alone, but they'll begin to embody more of who they truly are. You cannot threaten authenticity. It don't matter who you is. That's why a lot of people who will try to re-enter, I know personally in my life, I'll be able to be discerning. You know, I sat back, observe, and, you know, check a few people I know social media, and you'll realize the same shit. You can pick up on the vibe looking at it. It ain't no judgment. It's like my thing is like, I can celebrate with people, but I still will have to be discerning. There's still something in you that I still got to be discerning about. I love you. I love myself. But I love me more to still know that I am definitely not finna go down that road with your ass again. And see, that's the thing about, you get to choose who has access. It's a powerful thing when you realize frequency and spiritual currency. You get to choose that. Because there are certain things, like if you have children, you can't just get away from that. I saw men in my family try to run away from that, run away from responsibility. And it don't matter what they did, they chose different lifestyles, but it's still going, as your kids grow, it's still going to get back. It's still going to catch you one way or another. You cannot outrun what you planted seeds. That's why children are so valuable. But nah, y'all listen to motherfuckers who don't even see the value in your inner child, so I expect you not to even care about your own children. That's one of the greatest lessons I had to experience from a father who chose to be away. I'm not giving nobody any excuses. You can support me from a distance. I appreciate you. Same thing with, a lot of y'all had mothers and fathers, they chose different. Hold them to that, hold them to that standard, that same energy. I told myself, everyone experienced it. I'm not finna wait around 10, 15 years knowing that your ass ain't gonna change. I'm not finna be the one that give you money in hand. You ain't finna come up on me on no motherfucking clout. People don't realize you can support in so many different ways. And realize you're planting seeds to where that's gonna return to you. Prime example I had today, I had to shovel some fucking snow. I ain't never did that in my life. Lord have mercy. I like shit. Had a mercy. I went out there, took it upon myself. One of my folks, I had to go there. I was like, knock on the door. Nobody came. I saw somebody coming out, like looking through the window. But I was like, you know what? It is what it is. And see, sometimes redirection. So a part of me like, could I get angry? I know someone in here, but that ain't for me to. I can't make people do nothing. I just wanted to use a shovel. So I just went. It was a regular shovel. So I went down, saw some other guys shoveling, shoveling some snow. I'm about to say shoveling some shit. And I asked them, and they were like, yeah, when we finish up, But in that process, I asked them, I was like, I can support with shoveling, make a trade. And it's like, yeah, when we finish up, cool. So came back to the car. Then the first guy I went to, he came out like, hey, I was like, oh, I just want to use the shovel. He brought it to me. I started. It was a regular shovel. Then somebody close to me, nearby, came out. He was like, well, he didn't say nothing. It was wild how just the support was coming from everywhere. Somebody else came out first. She said, hey, would you like this? And at first I was like waiting for the other guy because they were just finishing up down the street. Then once somebody close to me came out, y'all gotta realize, like, the reason why this means so much to me, it's not only choosing my battles, but it was also realizing, like, I could have made this tougher with the shovel. And then it's the access thing. I could fight this on my own, or I could allow certain things, access. Because one person, it went from going to ask to almost like, now here I am putting a shovel in the ground. This guy comes along, let me use his, not knowing he was finna support me the whole time. Then the guy that I asked the first time comes out. Now he is with his shovel, the regular shovel, doing just as amazing as we were doing. Now it went from one hand, two hands, to six. And so the guy that came out closer to me ended up getting the lady's shovel. And I was just sitting here like, y'all gotta realize at a point in time when I tell you like how poverty mindset or survival will have your ass feeling like, I don't want no help. I don't want no support. Because all support ain't good support or genuine. But I know where I've gotten to where I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna block this blessing. So that shit went from that, I'm telling you, I was out there more than almost an hour and a half, 2 hours. That shit went from two hands, boom. And it was good because after that, I was like, let me go ahead and shovel some of these guys' stuff too. Because it's just like, it's a beautiful thing how you realize, like, someone myself went from a survival mindset, went from a poverty mindset to thinking like one way. Poverty mindset or even low self-esteem will have someone coming off as if like this God complex, or this I can do everything, this very cocky. And I had to come away from that a lot. And the reason I bring this up is because I saw my mother go through that shit. When you don't realize like how systems have been in place to keep people not just in a low self-esteem, because that's what poverty is. It keeps them at a lower state, feeling like their life is cursed, like they don't need support. And I get some of the aspect of how an abusive system has abused their what they call the false empowerment around support. So I get it from a woman that's indigenous, or what they call black. I get it from some people because it happens all around the world. It's, I know people from all walks of life. But that mindset collectively, which we are elevating from, that's what the Pluto and Aquarius, that's what a lot of this shit is uprooting. It's how y'all perceive this shit, certain shit, to be elite, but the divine see otherwise. There's a cosmic elite. When balance is being restored, it's going to reveal how there's an abundance of everything. It's people's mindset. It's what they went through. It's what they hold on to. It's what they value. That's people's dysfunction. They value a life of dysfunction rather than a valuing a life that's stable and secure and balanced and with that. And I'm grateful that I would have never had that experience. Y'all got to realize, stop making other people your experience. That means stop making your battle their battle. I'm not saying don't support people. It's the fact of not losing yourself in supporting them. I had to learn that shit with, I know a lot of people I had to see with supporting people financially. Because emotions, like the mother wound, the mother, basically the matriarchal dynamic of how has one developed such a mindset towards money. Emotions. Money is a currency. So where did I develop this mindset? These learned behavior patterns on survival. Who was I around? How did that affect me? Now, abundance will have, let's say, a certain person believing, oh, I just gotta support people that look like me. Now, we all know too fucking well. A lot of us know. Some of us know. Very few. That when it comes to stuff like that, it's very important discerning where you plant your seeds. How you have to learn through business. There are some people right now, I don't give a fuck if they was pink or blue, I will not do business with. There are some people I realize that collectively represent self-hatred, and their business is built off of it. Their corporation and so forth. So for me, I have to live through integrity to realize, like, it seems like it's very challenging to get through this shit. And that's the reward from it, because you had to go through with integrity. And guess what's at the end of the fucking tunnel? Guess what's at, it's not so much at the end of the tunnel. It's not just a light. It's the clarity on realizing, man, this motherfucker had y'all here believing that only this people, and I'm just using the example, can get loans. See, that was an abuse of power. This person only felt like, oh, I grew up. You got people mindset, they only believe that they can only get US dollars. You got people right now in their mind believing, and their ancestors migrated here from other different perspectives. You got people realizing that this is the only, like, this is it. There's nothing more. That's not an abundant perspective or mindset. And see, that shift, again, I'm going to use myself to where when I see people who grow up, and this is not an attack on people who had, but when I look at, like, I call it modern day slave labor, when people, I'm telling you, where I come from, y'all don't realize the experience of going from working in a chicken factory, a chicken plant, where most of the people look like me, and or lighter brown people or brown people, because that's all they had. Let me tell y'all something. There were people I knew. Again, it just shows the shift in value. What is your worth? And it ain't even just a fact that my worth can be abundant. That doesn't mean like, it's meaning like I take back authority and have sovereignty over my life. If I say this is my price, this is what it is. And I realized as we were making, like, a motherfucker make time bend, airbender. I'm gonna make people adjust to me. It's just as much as they wanted me to adjust to them. That's not control. That's called, I don't have to manipulate you. You try to manipulate me. I'm doing something from a place of boundaries and having higher standards, because I'm not being distracted from somebody telling me this is what you're worth because of what you look like. This is how much you're worth because you're from here. This is your value because you're from America. Or this is all of that shit. Sports, art, all of that. The community, all of that. Spiritual, all of that. This is what you're... Who? You must don't know what I come from, what I came here to... Source. Abundant. Prosperous in all forms, in all areas of my life. Who the fuck are you? So anywho, coming from, I know people with a mindset, that's all they have. They feel like that's just that's their worth, they deserve. But I saw the mindset of people who were like literally, and like what I said, another man's prosperity can be another man's curse. Everyone's not supposed to live the same life. Like I said, there, 500, I'm telling you, at a time, boy, I just saw the slave labor, what I did. Man, certain stuff I was not finna do with other people. I saw what people were doing just to get a $600-700 check. And sometimes not even 500. Cutting chicken, hands cold, getting carpal tunnel, doing this, some people, what, 8, 9, 10 hours a day? Huh? I didn't come to suffer. So guess what? In walking a path least traveled, it'll take you through what you perceive, because some people can see that as prospering. Living check to check and bill to bill. That's fine. I'm not saying I go through the integrity of entrepreneurship and experience, because that's the thing about millenniums. I'm living through experience. I'm going through the fact of, okay, how could I reinvent my life? So a lot of people aren't ready to jump out the porch. They aren't ready to jump to learn more about themselves, to create different outlets, to realize that same little boy and girl, when you had that vision of doing things, whether it was art, music, and so forth, you know, whatever, what really is the intention behind it. And so with that, it's like, now I'm telling myself, again, I was there. I couldn't wait to get that $500-something, but I looked at the mindset now at that time. I couldn't wait to get that shit and blow it. Use it, put it on what? Use it towards what? And it was because of the mindset, the people are around, and so forth. But I still always, even when I was in there, I still had a bigger perspective on life. I don't know if you've been watching me. Years ago, I talked about this, how I went from trying to go to a university. And it's things to where I start to recognize people pattern. How people will not want to see you prosper if they're not willing to go and love themselves and so forth. They will naturally try to want to control some type of aspect of your life. Try to, you know, in any way, shape, or form, throw a wrench in there and so forth. And that's just, I'm not finna go into detail too much. It's basically how I had to do my own financial aid without the support of my mother. I know some people are like, well, what you mean? No, there are certain things that you support a child through. How I had to find my own fucking ride to the university 4 or 5 hours away. I believe at the time my mama didn't have a car. Or I think she did, but she wasn't willing to take me. Because the first time I went all the way up there, I remember this shit. There was something they needed from her, and I'm expressing to her, and I had to return all the way from Virginia, and then I believe she ended up, did she end up taking me there or halfway? It was something. Well, she ended up doing something. I don't know if she took me all the way that time. But it was something to where life forces people, even when sometimes they feel like they were against you. I just know that the Most High literally makes your enemies your footstool. Because they think they're enemy of trying to be against you, they're still a catalyst to what you're doing and how and part of your growth. It doesn't matter who it is. In some part of my life, I was a catalyst to someone's healing journey or experience, or them get to know themselves better, or even getting away from something, whether it was abusive, whether it was something, whatever it was. I'm not ashamed of that, friendship or whatever. I'm not ashamed of that, because I have my own experience. But like I said, that mindset, I don't have that mindset now. When I'm going towards a bigger picture, shifting and knowing what I'm coming into and seeing the bigger picture, that's when most people aren't ready to go 5-10 years, whether dealing with entrepreneurship, whether planting seeds, whether not knowing how this is going to come from, then having to recognize where support comes from. And even if it don't come from family and shit, it's so many different things that, again, as you're navigating and going through this, that's what integrity reveals. That's what authenticity reveals. You will start to see who's not living in what. You will start to see, like, how much people are not really who they say they are. They say it with their mouth, but they actually say otherwise. So, and then in that process, as they're judging or casting or saying, oh, well, you can always come here, or you can do this and do that. Again, it's going to be so clear how people have not faced themselves, have not changed, have not did anything to really get to know themselves. And that's the thing, as you gradually move on in life, that's where I say that you have to let people, their battles on themselves. They have to, just as you did. I had to face my own shit. And in that, I had to learn, like, my role. People showed me certain things. They didn't want me to have access to certain things. It's no different. That's how that's how shit balance out. I told myself years ago that it's going to come a time, nobody going to ever have to worry about living with me type shit. And I mean by that, it's like, that's the access. I get to choose that. Now, however that happens, I can have ideas on, like, well, hey, you stay down there, I stay, don't, It's just certain things where you have ideas where it's not given to you for no reason. And then that, as you're transitioning and navigating through that, you have to stay discerning, because I told myself, I told my mom this, I'm going to leave with this. I told my mom this years ago. I said, it may sound harsh, but I said, do not reach out to me. I don't care who transitional leaders were. I don't care. That's how deep it was. That's how focused I was on getting to know me more and loving myself and navigating and building what I was going to build. And there were times where I would go look at, like, I don't got Facebook no more. I would go look on Facebook. And again, you will feel that emotional pull. Sometimes you'll even try to reach out to people. And a lot of shit you realize at a time where it's just distractions, if you allow it. But then stuff started to become more clear. I started getting more insight. I started seeing how people were not supportive when I was doing things. And that was okay. It was just making me clear on how when they don't have accessibility, or they don't have, certain contact, whatever it is, you become the villain, and or it really truly forces them to see themselves. So plant seeds, but move away. Get out of the way of letting the seed grow. That's the same thing with people. It's a marathon. They're not willing to get equipped and get themselves prepared. They looking on the surface level for everything. They looking for people to save them and so forth. But I told her that shit years. I don't care what happened to people, because it's not in a vindictive way of like people didn't give a fuck about me. That's part of it. At the same moment, I just learned to have more compassion and empathy for myself. Because I went through things everybody don't know the depths of. I went through things. It's not about blaming people. I had to go through those experiences to realize, like, dude, you have to you have to do this. You have to get up. Then you can have kids. It's even more inspiring. And I don't mean burning yourself out. It's even more inspiring because in your breaking generational patterns and cycles, that means that it trickles down to them living a life that they can embrace and enjoy. It's not about being perfect either. Like I said, your mothers and father people, they could have done their very best, but I told myself, I ain't finna fake with y'all. And when you are in the process of creating something, building something, man, you have to learn. Those of you that have family, be discerning not to let people who don't have what you have try to ruin that shit. Try to destroy it, try to dismantle it, try to put their opinions and input in it. You get a home and so forth. You ain't got to invite who you don't want to invite. You better start realizing, y'all call it, ask the Most High for clarity of who is who's my, who's hiding, who's your enemy and so forth. Man, prayer or meditation or whatever it is, resting, that shit would be revealed to you. Even when you don't want to see it. And that can be heartbreaking for a lot of people, but everything ain't got to be heartbreaking. Eventually, it gets to a place where you realize, like, as you start to hold space for yourself, love yourself more, it don't become heartbreaking. It just becomes an opportunity for you to pour more into yourself and wish people well. Because at a moment when you were experiencing things, everybody wasn't wishing me well. And that's cool and all. But like I told my mom that year, I said, man, y'all be able to see me, but you won't be able to touch me. I've been standing on business with that. And that's another thing with discernment. You have to stand on business with it. Everybody don't got the heart you have. Everybody don't love the way you do. And you got to remember that through life. Now, alignment with that, you'll have people mirror things back to you, but everyone still don't do what you do. That's what makes your uniqueness, your individualism, or who you are so unique and inspiring and so forth. So I don't care. I don't care for no one's validation. Especially folks that don't watch me, knowing they're gonna try to return, and I don't even care about the return. Me mentioning it is like, for what? I'm not surprised. That's natural. It's like you growing up in childhood and you leave and here's your childhood friend. So again, the growth in it all is like, again, these things return for you to realize, like, discernment. Realizing, like, being discerning in what you are creating and building on that and loving yourself, taking care of yourself. Yeah. And realizing, like, that's why I was saying, like, some people, the way the role reverse, the tables turn, is that they have to go through those experiences. Some things you'll know, but they have to go through those experiences. They have to. They have to. You had to. And you'll know what to do in those moments. I told myself this. You'll get insight. You'll know who to align with, who to talk to, and so forth, whatever it is. Other than that, protect yourself. Stay rooted, stay grounded in love and truth and integrity and so forth. Y'all take care of yourself. Peace and blessings. Shalom.